Let's talk about keyboards for a minute. To oversimplify things, there are basically two types of modern keyboards. There's rubber dome keyboards and mechanical keyboards. Yes, there are other types, other categories, but again, we're keeping things simple. Now, rubber dome keyboards are the most common, mostly because they're the least expensive to manufacture, and they're the least expensive to buy. So they've really dominated the market for a while. But there's something special about mechanical keyboards. It's a little hard to describe unless you've actually used one. But they're a lot nicer and a lot more comfortable to type on than rubber dome keyboards. Within the world of mechanical keyboards, there are a few different varieties, and we're just sticking to sort of the standard modern mechanical keyboard varieties, like the clicky type, the type that aren't clicky but have some resistance to them, have some tactile feedback. Anyhow, the keyboard I'm using right now is a Logitech K840 keyboard. It's not backlit, doesn't have any special features. It uses their Roamer G switches, which are special switches designed by Logitech in conjunction with Omron. It's pretty much the same as their G413 keyboard, except without the backlighting. I've been using this keyboard because it's quiet. If you use a regular standard blue switch type clicky keyboard, then when you do gaming videos, the microphone completely picks it up. So, I thought the Roamer G switches sounded interesting, as in the technical specifications sounded interesting to me, and the keys themselves, the key switches, are pretty quiet, so they don't really get picked up by the microphone. So that's the main reason I got this keyboard. Now, it's a decent keyboard. It's high quality. It feels like a premium product, kind of like what you would hope a Logitech keyboard would be. But the problem is, even though it's good for gaming, it's perfectly fine for gaming, it's not that great to type on. And personally, I do much more typing than gaming. I really do miss having a regular clicky mechanical keyboard, because those, the type that either are blue switches or are copies of blue switches, are a lot nicer and more comfortable to type on. The problem with that, of course, is, again, the microphone picks it up if you're doing a gaming video. Of course, you can get a brown switch keyboard, which is more similar to a blue switch keyboard than the Roamer G switches, where they feel a little more like a blue switch than the Roamer G switch does. They have tactile feedback, but they don't have the clickiness to them. But the problem with the blue switch keyboards is they aren't that cheap. With the brown switch, the problem with the brown switch keyboards is they aren't that cheap. The blue switch keyboards are much more common. It's what people tend to like. They like that auditory feedback and tactile feedback of the blue clickiness. So that's what most people buy, and that's what most manufacturers make. So that tends to be the most available and the least expensive. Still more expensive than many rubber dome keyboards, but a little more reasonable. The brown switch keyboards aren't as common, and as a result, they tend to be more expensive, especially if you get one made by a name brand like Logitech. But I have to say, I really do miss typing on a nice cherry style switch like a blue clicky switch. I'd be interested in knowing what sorts of keyboards you use, and if you have a mechanical keyboard or you've ever used a mechanical keyboard, what's your favorite brand? What's your favorite type of switch? It's just interesting to me for anyone that really enjoys keyboards. They'll probably find it interesting too. Keyboards are an interesting topic because it's the sort of thing where you can really get into wanting to try this keyboard and this switch and that switch, but it can get expensive pretty quickly. Anyhow, I just wanted to talk about my keyboard a little bit while we watch some good old Hypixel SkyBlock. Oh yeah.